Assalamu alaikum students, this is Majid Tahir, your teacher for computer science. You are watching me on my YouTube channel and on my web portal www.fikr.org. What we are doing today is computer science. Course code for O levels is 0478 IGCSE and O levels 2210 for Cambridge. The topic that we are doing is the same topic in A levels also, and the course code is 9618. Let's start the topic. Paper 2, Algorithm in Programming Basics. The syllabus contents that we will be covering today is iterations. There are three types of iterations we are using. Today, count controlled loop, which is for loop. So for construct has two types of construct, for to next, and we can alternatively use for to and end for. Then we have another loop which is post condition loop, we call it repeat until, and the third loop that we'll be talking today is precondition loop, which we call while, do and while. So loop repetitions or iterations. Sometimes many problems involve repeating one or more statements, so it is useful to have structures for controlling these iterations or repetitions. We have three types of loops that we are using. One is for to next, count controlled loop. Second is while, do and while. We also call it precondition loop. And repeat until, which we call post condition loop. So first we are going to see for to next loop. For to next loop is used when we know that how many times loop is going to be repeated. So known number of times is repetition, and the counter in the loop is automatically incremented, so we do not have to increment it manually. For to next loop is also called count controlled loop because we are the one who are controlling how many times loop is going to be repeated. Let's see the pseudocode for count controlled loop or for to next loop. Now in this program, we are declaring two variables called num and count, and the data type is integer. Output before the input is prompt for the user, so it says please input a number for its times table or please input a number for its table. So this is going to be prompted or displayed on the screen so that user can give something in the input. Output screen that you will be seeing will be like that. For example, when declare number and count colon integer is written, it created two variables, one with the name of num, other with the name of count. By default, when variables are created with the data type integer, by default they have the value 0 in it. So initially num and count both have 0 in it. So please input a number for its table is displayed on the output screen. User is going to give input in the variable num. So let's suppose user has input 5 in it. So variable num basically has a storage where user has input 5. So this 5 is input in variable num. Now the loop says for count is equal to 1 to 10. And inside the loop we have output num, which is 5, times multiplication sign is going to be displayed as it is. So whatever is in the speech marks like this, times and equals to, whatever is in inverted commas or speech marks is going to be displayed as it is on the screen. So 5 times 1, because count was initially 1, count started from 1, so the variable count has started with 1. Num has the value 5 in it. So 5 times 1 equals to num into count is 5. So this is displayed, and next count. So when next count comes, means that the count is going to be repeated again, goes back to the loop till it reaches the count 10. So the loop will go back. So the loop will go back, and now count initially was 1, now count becomes 2. Num will have the value 5 as it is, as user has input only once. So the loop goes back again and count, because count increased to 2, count, so 5 times 2 equals to 10. The loop goes back again and 5 times 3, because now count from 2 to it became 3 now. So 5 times 3 is equal to 15. Loop goes back again, 5 times 4 is equal to 20. Looping goes back again, count increased one more time, 5 times 5, 25, 5 times 6, 30. So it keeps on increasing, it keeps on displaying that till it reaches to 10. So loop will go up till 5 times 10 equals to 50. Now when it reaches 10, loop will end the program and move to the next portion after the next count. So if you're ending program there, loop will end and the program will end, and it already displayed 5 times table up till 10. If there is some more statements, it will display that statement. Let's see one more time the program of Visual Basics, console mode, the same program for to next. Dim num count as integer. So this is the declaration. The dim command, dim is the command for declaring a variable. So it is same as declare. In pseudocode we use declare. In Visual Basics has its own keyword which is dim, and it does the same declaration. Rest is same, numbers declaring variable, name of the variables are same, as integer data types are same. It says console.writeLine, please input a number for its timetable. Now this is what console.writeLine is, basically output statement. So this is output statement. So console.writeLine is a keyword for output in Visual Basic, and user is going to input in the num variable. So num is equal to console.readline. Console.readline is basically input, which was in the pseudocode. So input num is basically this line that we are looking at right now. For loop is the same. For count is equal to 1 to 20. Console.writeLine is again output. Num and is basically comma in pseudocode. So it is basically used to separate these things. So num is going to be displayed as it is, times num is going to be displayed whatever user inputs. So user can input 7, user can input any number. Times is going to be displayed as it is. Count is going to be 1 initially. So if user inputs 7, it's going to be, if num has the value, for example, user has input 7 in it, and count has initially, let's suppose, 1 in it. So it's going to be displayed 7 times count is initially 1 equals to will be displayed as it is, because in the speech mark num into count 7 into 1 is 7. Now when you do that, next count will take the loop back to the count again, and count is incremented to 2 now. Earlier it was 1, now count is 2. Again it will display the same line till it reaches 20. So it will display 7 times 2 equals to 14. So the loop again goes back to count. Count becomes 3 now. So count is 3 now. 7 times 3 equals to 21. So it keeps on repeating till it reaches 20. So you will see the times table output is going to be displayed as it is displayed on the screen. Times table program, please input a number for its timetable, is a prompt for the user. User has input 7. It says 7 times 1, 7, 7 times 2, 14. It keeps on doing this thing till it reaches this line. 7 times 20 is going to be 1. 40. So because count was in the loop, we had for count is equal to 1 to 20. It reached 20 and then the program will end. So this is how the program will work in this slide.